Hey, thanks for having me on the show.
Yes, I want to welcome you to the show. We have the one and only one of the greatest actresses of all time, Anne Heche.
Oh, well,
Anne Heche, how are you doing tonight?
that flattering?
How
Thank
was your
you. That's very
Halloween?
sweet. Have you seen any of my movies? You're so young.
Of course.
I appreciate that you're a fan at your age.
Psycho, I know what you did last summer. Volcano, I know a few of your films. Chicago PD, you played the commander
cool,
on there
man.
for a
Where
season.
are you right now?
I'm from Connecticut.
Oh, you are? Is that
Yeah.
where you're doing your show from?
Yeah, yeah, that's where I'm doing my show from.
Hi. Cool.
How was your Halloween?
Well, I have to show. I have to tell you, I had such a blast. I get paid to dress up and go into characters. So usually on Halloween, I don't do anything. The last time I dressed up was when my son was Homer, who's now 19, was 6 years old, and I came home from school one day and he goes, "Mom, do you know Han Solo?" And I was, because his friends had told him. It was so funny that he called it Han Solo. So I came back from Vancouver where I was working with Princess Leia costume, him, a Han Solo costume that they made for. But last night was the next night. This has been a long time, because my friend who is a costume designer got a huge job and I wanted to celebrate her. And the reason my eyes are not on you is because I think a picture will say the entire story. Whoa.
A picture says 1,000 words.
Well, it does. And then I feel like you could describe to your audience better. Wait. Heather, can you bring over just a picture so it's bigger so we can see? Anyway, so what ended up happening was I made reservations. There's I live in downtown LA, which is kind of an undiscovered world, but booming now. And there's a place called Cicada. It is a swing club. And so they have, for Halloween, they had a live 20-piece swing band. And it's in one of the oldest buildings downtown, beautiful architecture. And everybody has to dress up to go there. It's kind of the fun of it and to dance. But last night for Halloween, people went absolutely bananas. The dancers were dressed deep. There were girls walking around with coconuts and bananas around their hips. It was absolutely stunning. So I'll show you a picture of what my crew ended up looking like because we all dressed up and went very flappery. Can you see it?
Yes, I can. Is there actual, did you post this on Instagram or any sort of your social media platforms where people could check this out or listening if they are not watching now?
Yeah, absolutely. And you'll see a couple of videos. It was so over the top. So this, and we'll put the pictures of my friend who is the costume designer made this dress for me.
Wow.
And that headdress. It was just such a celebration. And have you ever seen a headdress like this? Folks who are listening, my friend used to be a showgirl in New York, and she put a feather, extraordinary crown on her head that weighed like 50 pounds by the end of the night. Her shoulders like, well, I suffer for beauty. I'm a showgirl. Anyway, it was super fun. We danced our hearts out, so that was good.
Yeah. I'm glad that you had a great time though on Halloween, because it seems as though not too many celebrate anymore.
Except in downtown LA. I tell you, what's amazing about the culture down here is that there are a lot of young artists, designers. It's a little bit gritty, which I love, but everybody's kind of supports each other in trying to get to the next place. So it's a fun atmosphere to be in.
It's kind of funny because you brought up Harrison Ford before. This was the first person that you saw on the big screen because Star Wars was the first thing that you saw.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I met him, I read the script and I was like, oh, I can play this with my eyes closed. Like, who's the guy? Harrison Ford. I was like, no, fuck, I ain't gonna get that. And they said, well, who knows? You're meeting him on Tuesday morning. I was so inelegant, blurted out, oh my God, I can't believe it. You're Harrison Ford. I saw you. I was the first person. You were the first person on screen. Then he turned to Ivan Reitman and said, well, she's more interesting than most. So, but I think I made him giggle. And then he, has rescued me. He's a very, very wonderful man.
Yes, you're able to work with him 6 days, 7 nights as people remember that film.
Yeah, that was Harrison Ford made a life-changing decision for me because I had taken the woman that I was seeing for 4 days to my volcano premiere, and at the time, people were either gay or straight, and gay was uh, apparently not legal because they ushered us out of the theater and into a limo and home before we could get pictures taken of us together, and it shows you how different the times were
Yeah.
then. But I got fired the next day, and was told that I wasn't going to do the movie with Harrison. And Harrison stood up for me and said, I don't care who you're sleeping with. Let's make a movie." And really stood up for trying to remind people that it's about talent. It's not about sexuality. And it really, he took a big stand, and I wouldn't have the voice, that I do if I hadn't had the opportunity to have that success.
I'm surprised that there weren't other actors that stuck up for you. Were there? Tommy Lee Jones didn't stick up for you?
That's what's so. It was a really kind of shocking experience to be simply what I found simply standing up for everyone's right to love whoever they want, regardless of their gender. It seemed like a really simple thing, to encourage people to be who they are, but it wasn't. And there was a real like shunning. It was so odd. I made it the study of my life. Like, why would you want to shut out, first of all, 50% population? But it wasn't that. I had never been with a woman. I just didn't understand why there was such resistance to the notion that we have freedom. And that's been kind of the last 20 years of my study, trying to figure out how we can, open the door to remembering that we are we are stronger together. United we stand, and we're in a culture that's doing divided we fall. And I think it's time to make that switch.
Mhm. You actually were able to get the opportunity to speak on Washington when all this was going on too.
The March on Washington
Yeah.
was the biggest March on Washington then, and I stuck my foot right in my mouth. The last time you want to say to people you have the right to choose to love is a million person plus march for people who are saying we want to be treated equal because we were born this way. And I didn't understand. What I wanted to do was support them, of course, but in the context, it felt like I was denying what they were speaking of, what Ellen was standing for. But we truly didn't stand for different things.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous just hearing the stories that you would just get cut off there from your $10 million picture deal. That's insane. And the whole blacklisting thing that happens. I'm curious because now we're in the age of cancel culture. What is your take on this whole cancel culture that's going on right now? Because if you think about it, you were canceled for the wrong reasons.
Well, my podcast partner, Better Together with Anne and Heather, likes to say I was patient zero. I was the first. I was the first cancel, and I officially uncanceled myself last month, and I realized, oh, we can just say that. Like, you can't cancel me twice, right? It's kind of giving me some freedom now. It's gonna be hard, but people do. I say things that do not always agree with the whole, but I always figure we get a 50-50 shot, and that's enough. All we need to do is offer something. I don't live in judgment or try to change others. I just offer the opportunity for more freedom and growth for ourselves and others.
Yeah, the cancel culture is insane, and it's I still can't believe that you went through what you went through. But the 29th Dancing with the Stars season that you were on, you came out about your
Canceled.
story.
That's why I said people are still doing it to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Canceled, like confusion canceled. Like, what the frig? What was there? Who should we pick? Oh yeah, and she just told her story about being canceled. Let's throw her off the show. It's funny how people respond to people who have challenged something in a thought. What I find is that those who haven't wanted to take on that questioning for themselves, like, why would you do it? I feel like the biggest mistake or the biggest thing that was missed at that time was that nobody asked me why I was doing it. Just a simple question would have been great, but this overwhelming shut that out is often the experience is with those that we reflect something that we don't agree with. And I'm happy to be a person who continues to be hopefully a beacon that at least has my stake in the ground of what I believe, and in giving that opportunity for people to come and talk to Heather and me in a way that's honest and truthful and fun, so that we can have perspective on our stories and be in a healed life.
I think that you were courageous in doing what you did because it was such the not popular thing to do at the time. And I think you opened up the path for others to feel comfortable in coming out and doing what you did. And that's a big step forward. And just hearing your story for people out there that want to come out and feel comfortable doing it.
I'm so grateful for that and appreciative. It is the greatest badge of honor I have to have participated in something that helped create change. We can't skip steps, and looking at the step that I took really helped me form what I wanted the next step to be. Well, what does it mean, love with gender free? Well, I believe in complete freedom. I believe that we should all be able to be exactly who we are. And that seems like so simple, but the funny thing is it's not, because we're born into a place that creates conflict for us, some more than others. And until we take hold of that as our strength and our story, and tell the truth about it and move on from it, we can't really get into ourselves, into first name. Like, I am this, call me by my name. I have this ownership. And I think telling your story truthfully is what empowers that next step to happen, where you really can choose to say goodbye. It's done. I'm not going to look at it anymore. I've told every friend and grandmother or whoever I need to, so that I can move on. But coming out was what I said on March of Washington, which is funny, because I was like, I've never been with a woman. You talk about foot one in the mouth. I've never been with a woman, which was like, nobody understood that at the time, again, because it was gay or straight. Well, I didn't even understand it, but it just didn't make any sense to me that it should matter. But the next thing I said was, being straight, I encourage you to come out. The reason why people aren't understanding is partly because we're afraid or ashamed in our culture. But the thing that I wasn't understanding is very hard at the time, of course, to find the trust enough. And that's really where we were at that time in the late 90s. And of course, coming off the 80s and AIDS, and there was so much judgment and fear. And it touches me that your generation sees what that is, because it wasn't really recognized then. And I realized that, we can't always predict God's timing, but in a way, I feel like this moment is really incredible for me, because whether or not your generation understands me as an actress isn't the point. What I want is for people to come into an understanding where there's a person who's been through some hell around making a choice for love, and is here to support it and encourage it. And I love that you feel that that's been a part of your upbringing. How old are you? Can I ask?
Yeah, I'm 22.
Oh my goodness sakes. Oh my goodness sakes.
Yeah.
So, but that's really who you are. I'm 52 years old, but because sometimes the age that I am, and having come through it, is offering me a new opportunity to speak with kids who are really making the choice to love, and it needs encouragement, because the road of it doesn't look necessarily as gratifying financially, or all the things that the carrot dangled in front of us to not tell the truth about ourselves are about. And that it's a challenge, and it deserves recognition and support. So that, I really think that your generation has a real opportunity to join together and flip this awful hatred upside down.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's sooner than later.
Me too.
Your Emmy, how to feel to win this Emmy for Another World?
Oh my God. I was in Nebraska shooting a movie with Jessica Lange. I was in a Motel 6 eating a cheeseburger, and my name got announced, and someone came up and I'm like, said Anne's shooting a movie. It was so surreal. And I eating my cheeseburger like, um, I I had a lot of naivete about what the business was about or what I was going to go to design school. I didn't have quite a grasp of my talent. I had been raised in a very abusive family, so my understanding was so limited. But I did pick up the phone and call my agent and say, "Does this mean I have to be an actress?" So luckily, I mean, for me, I won that Emmy because I would have gone to Parsons School of Design if that didn't happen. Those are when angels intervene and make you stay on the path that's right for you.
Donnie Brasco, it's one of the greatest mob movies of all time. How was your experience of working with Johnny Depp and the great Al Pacino?
You know, I had screen tested with Al 4 years before that for a movie. Oh gosh, what was it called? Anyway, the movie he did, and he falls in love with a stripper, like as if. But we had to go and screen test in New York, and they wanted us to take stripping lessons from this dancer. What? No. So I went to a strip bar and went and auditioned. I was like, if I'm going to be good, I might as well figure it out myself, which they didn't understand at all. My choices are usually different than most actors, and I don't often do what I'm told very well. So I danced. I did the dance because I said, why would I come to rehearsal and have everybody understand that completely kills the surprise when I come out on stage? And sure enough, he's sitting in the booth and I do the dance, and then he's supposed to come up afterwards and like compliment me. Oh God, it's silly me getting to a conversation. Anyway, after we did the audition, Pacino met me in the hallway and he said, you are never going to get hired for this movie. You are way too young and I won't do that, but give yourself 4 years to grow into your maturity as an actress, because you are acting at the age that is so much further along than you. And we need to come to it as Hollywood needs to be, because you're hard to figure out. 4 years later, they cast me in Donnie Brasco, which was so magical. He said 4 years, and I was like, how do people know that? Now I kind of know why he had that perspective, because I understand it with, younger actors, but also he was very complimentary and supportive of me, so that when, again, timing, but there it was 4 years later, I didn't even get to do a scene with him, but his support was incredible. And Johnny Depp was amazing and adorable, but he was going out with Kate Moss. He didn't give me a glance really, except when I came into the makeup trailer and he holds out his fingers. He's like, don't ever get tattoos. It's another hour in the trailer. But what I love about working with Johnny is how, he just go boom, just straight on in, as deep as he can go and as committed as he can get, and he doesn't fool around. And that couple didn't have a lot of scenes, but the ones that we had created, you believed that we were married and was suffering, and that's not an easy thing to do when you have 4 days to shoot a scene where you're going to get slapped and all that. But it takes a lot of trust to do that. He's just the greatest, and he's dreamy too.
Mm-hmm. When was the first time that you saw Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho? Because I want to know the story, because this would probably help you prepare for your role as Marion Crane in the remake.
Well, I don't. This was so Gus Van Sant directed this. He wanted it to be. It was his college thesis, and he wanted to do a shot-for-shot remake of Psycho with one shot change. And it was the shot with Marion in the tub after she dies, and Hitchcock didn't have the correct equipment to be able to go from her eye out the window. So Gus, that's the one thing he's going to do it for Hitchcock, right? But what it took was me literally doing eye training, because Gus was like, you're gonna have to do 5 more seconds than, it was just so funny. I would be on the set eye training. I, I didn't watch a lot of movies. Star Wars was my first, but I wasn't allowed to watch a lot of movies. So I was like, what's Psycho? I didn't really know a lot. I was called a wild animal set free from her cage. I heard my agent saying to somebody behind closed doors. So I watched it the night before, and I went in to meet Gus, and I was like, holy cow, this movie is cool. It's amazing that you're doing really. Who is this guy? What he's like, who's Alfred Hitchcock?
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding? You had never seen it. So we just sometimes not knowing things has intrigued people with me because I'm so committed to things, but not necessarily in the way that comes from an understanding or perspective or history or anything else. And I think that freshness when I first came to LA like really, really helped because I didn't follow the rules and I'd been on a soap opera for 4 years. I had a lot of, I was very comfortable in front of the camera and trying things because I played twins. So that platform really allowed me to enter Hollywood in a way that most people can't do because who does 500 episodes of television before they arrive? So it benefited me to do that. But it was amazing. Vince Vaughn and it was our second movie together, and I just think he's just so tremendous. And how it was just really fun to get into a body of someone else. So we did the body language exactly the same, but changed the personalities. And that was a challenge. Like Vince and I would walk on the same foot that they did when they were walking down the stage. It's always fun to have a little game on set.
That's legendary.
And it was so slammed.
Yeah.
And it's funny, and you hear this about a lot of movies. It takes a couple generations to get it. People were so offended. How could you do it? And like, look at Broadway. They do plays with 900 different like. Why can't you redo a movie? It's, again, like a mindset that doesn't make any sense. And then, about 20 years later, catch yourself.
It develops that following and it finally gets the praise.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the one he did with Uma Thurman?
No, I haven't.
Oh, he's just such an incredible filmmaker. Are you a filmmaker?
Me? No, I'm just a radio host.
Don't ever say just. That's really a rocking thing, man.
Yeah.
How'd you do it? Why'd you do it?
Oh, radio host. I started out in college. I built my way up here and have my own independent platform now.
Really, that's so extraordinary. Well done.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Where do you want to go? What do you want to do with it?
Me, I'm just staying independent until a spot opens up at one of these big stations, and eventually I'm considering. Yeah. Maybe it's possible. I'm thinking about that, but right now, because things are so tough with the radio industry, I'm looking into going into film school. I'm thinking about it.
Wow, what fun that would be. I like the way you see things. I think you'd really like. Not that I ever went to college, I don't know, but people seem to like film school. I fly by the seat of my pants. But learning other things in the other directions is always a good thing. More knowledge and more tools you have on your belt.
That's right. And you're actually a scream queen, because if you think about it, you're in Psycho, and now you get the chance to be in I Know What You Did Last Summer. How was that experience?
That was forever
because your character was praised.
It's so funny. That was the producers of Volcano. And I got a call one day. He said, Anne, I need you to do me a favor. What? I need you to get on a plane and come down here and be a red herring in this movie. It's only like 2 days, but I would need you to scare the shit out of these two girls. And I just know that you'll just flip them out, right? And so I read the character and I was like, great, get me a cleaver and get me a rag to wear as a dress with an apron. And I wouldn't talk, I wouldn't talk to the girls. I would either walk away from them or stare them down, because because I knew it would be so scary that they couldn't help but come in when they called action and be even more scared of me. And it was just, it's fun to mess with people. And then afterwards, I, give them a hug and say, I don't mean to hurt them.
I want to get into one of my favorite roles of yours, which is Commander Brennan on Chicago PD. How was
Thank
that,
you, my
especially
friend.
filming out in Chicago, because that's pretty cold out there, working with Jason Beghe. You've had him on your podcast too.
Oh, he's a terrific friend of mine. I really enjoy him. We did a TV show together when we were in a very different place in our acting careers, and he played. Again, the name is he played my paraplegic husband in a TV show where the doctor was coming on to me, and because he was a paraplegic and couldn't speak, that somehow justified that my character could flirt. It was so awful. And Jason wasn't treated very well. You get on set, you don't have any lines or whatever, and then you're sitting in a wheelchair and then having to listen to a story. It was just awful. So of course I just started making fun of him and cracking jokes and making him feel welcome. Not that I was the lead of the show, but people have a way of treating people on set that's so disrespectful. Well, funny enough, cut to years later, I called Jason, like, I know that there are say there's a pool of 50-ish actors, whatever, 42, I'm 42. When I got the part, I was so excited. And of course I hadn't seen the show. And then I realized it was Jason. And I was like, wow, that when you make people feel good, especially in the midst of a really like shitty kind of experience, but we all got to work. It just kindness pays in ways that nobody could. Well, it's like kindness is free. You don't give it because you hope to get something back. But boy, do you giggle when it comes back your way.
Yeah. And unfortunately, your character didn't survive until the next season.
I did not like how they turned on her. I thought she was a really unique woman. In the middle. You don't know if she's good or bad. But however, I determined her to be. They do that on shows when they have to get rid of the seasoned actress, right?
Yeah.
But to flip her into a murderer, that bugs me about shows. I think that's why I don't get through many seasons, because the second people do something that just couldn't be true to a character, it feels lazy to me and I get pissed off. And that was a real bummer for me, because I thought I had created a woman that you don't have to, it wasn't about liking her, it was about the values that she held and position she was in, had her make very difficult decisions. And that's a different woman. I felt like they cheated the spirit of the woman who is the real one by diminishing her, especially at the time in Chicago, when the most violence was going on the year I was there, and there are only 4 women in the country who have held the position that my character was playing, and one of them is in Chicago. And listening to her try to manage a city in absolute horrific terror and violence, and I was so proud to represent her. I hung out with her and her team, and I felt like I really wanted to respect them, and they did it all the way to the end, and then made me a murderer of the mayor. Like what? Anyway, that's what you can do on TV.
Yeah, you killed off Kelton, and if you're gonna go out that way, you got to kill the right character at least.
right.
No, but you recently did The Vanish. You actually have an upcoming film, 13 Minutes, which is out now in theaters, about a tornado.
Yes, it came out. It's fun to have a theatrical release. It's great. It brings the attention to it. It's a terrific, disaster film. Gives you all the bells and whistles of that, but really grounds it in some real human conflict and stories, which I thought was really surprising, because at the end of it, you're actually thinking about what's going to happen next to the people. How are they going to heal? Not what we're used to doing, which is going, well, how, I mean, how do we put their, the pieces back together? How do we rescue them? But we forget they're human beings who are confronting something and that they have to go on with all the destruction. So I thought that was an interesting, of course, my son in the movie comes out to me right before the tornado hits. And my reaction to it is something that I felt was really important to continue to look at, because unfortunately we still have to tell stories that that show rejection of our children for wanting to be who they are. And I felt like after Volcano 20 years ago and this one, that it was a super compelling challenge, but one that Lindsay Gosling, the director, and I thought was, I was the only one who could do it, because that to me is the one. So if there's one thing I would like to get rid of, it is the behavior we have around children who are doing something that we don't want them to do because of our belief system or whatever it is, judgment, whatever. But you're our evolving, amazing beings, and the fact that we forget that is our responsibility to ask you what's going to happen next and how we can help you do it is phenomenal to me. I want to stop that dumbing down too.
Mhm. We got to get into your podcast, Better Together with Anne and Heather. What made you?
Can I have my podcast partner come say hi?
Yes, that's fine. You can.
Prettier than I am and funnier sometimes. Get over here. And she's wearing a good luck hat today. She is wearing, sometimes I say the word God too much, so but people laugh at me. But
Hi, Heather. Welcome to the show.
What?
I welcome to the show. Hello, Heather. How are you
Oh,
going?
there you go. This is, I'm sorry, we're trying to make some room for you, but I just want to say she's wearing a good luck hat. And so now I replaced God with Kiki, which is her grandfather, and she's wearing Kiki's hat today as good luck to us. So this is us.
Doing my research for the podcast, you wanted to bring on people to tell their stories and just be themselves. When did this idea start to establish for you guys?
When you got booted from Dancing with the Stars early.
Oh my God, that's funny.
We had time on our hands that we weren't expecting. And so we'd had this idea to kind of create this community through a podcast. We call the people that listen to us our tribe. And we just really talk about people's stories and your struggles.
And then getting to the other side of the darkness you've been in and sharing, so that we have the empowerment to overcome. From hearing, how people share, and we have a good time too.
We have a good time.
That's really.
We always say that we want people to either learn something, have fun while they're listening, or the thing about podcasts and radio too is that you're not passive. You don't have to sit there and do nothing like when you're watching television. You can get stuff done. Can I curse?
No,
yes, you can.
And so clean your kitchen, exercise, do something.
I do like to talk about building a community that can help others, but whatever it is, we've got an entire universe that can take care of everybody. So defining what you're good at and offering it is key to, helping our neighbors and paying a little bit more attention to the needs that are going on around and engaging in them for fun, because it's fun to help people.
If you're an Anne fan, it's a lot of fun because we are way, way, way too honest. You can hear, if you listen to our episode when we're in Fashion Week, we talk about how we drank too much and how we get down and dirty show the next day, and how I walk into Anne's room and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna throw up. We don't hold anything back. We have no filter, which sometimes isn't good. So for people who want to know Anne's real life, listen to the podcast. You'll find out.
Well, yeah, we want people to feel comfortable in the truth.
Right, which is why
their lives. So that's why we're so we might even push it for that reason too. Because we've all got to feel good about others, and it's nice to have that encouragement.
Yes,
and that's what we do.
Okay, I'm gonna go. I'll let you guys close down.
Who's someone who's someone that you think that you could bring onto your show that would totally open up and be themselves, instead of what you usually see them on TV being?
Well, today we had on Sandra Bernhard.
Mhm.
who is one of the most unique and wonderful and ballsy comedians that everybody work and the way. So she incorporates so many different things. She's a performance artist, she's a singer, and she really goes right into the big depth of truth with her comedy. And so she was on today, and we're really, it's not that we want, it's not about celebrity necessarily, although we're a new podcast, fairly new. So we, Alec Baldwin is the one who launched us, and he is one of the dearest friends of mine. But we've worked together, but we do, it's fun to have on celebrities, but it's also our goal to have people tell their stories of human population, and offering the gifts that they have to bring, hopefully a younger generation. But that's going to take some time to get, and that's why I'm so appreciative of your opening to me, because I think it'll help. And
Yeah.
you're the folks I want to talk to, encouraged to go and become presidents and artists and whatever you want to be. I'm like a mother hen.
Yes.
Cluck. I don't know if that's cluck.
But you had your time on Sirius XM radio back in 2017.
Oh, Jason Ellis, and well, I really love Loveline, with the Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew show.
Mhm.
I loved what they were doing. Again, talking to an audience, a younger audience, truthfully about what they had without shame. So Jason and I kind of come from the same background, but he makes me look tame. So I was like, oh, awesome. Nobody can do that. So we did a little show called Love and Hate, but then he got moved to a daily show in the morning. So that partnership, of course, he was going on to do something bigger and better, but it was fun. That was part of my training for, the podcast. He's inspired me to go further.
That's great, and I'm
He
glad
was
that you
on
have.
our podcast. That's a fun one. He and Katie came on and challenged Heather and me to do a cricket, cricket race, or you could blow the cricket into the other person's mouth. Heather cheated, but we shot it, and it went into my mouth, and it was so hilarious. But we're silly too. It's fun to remember that life's a game and a puzzle and a riddle, and sometimes it's difficult, but there are helpful tips that you can get if the only people I want to take advice from are people who I would like to be or emulate in some way. If I don't like what their life is, then why would I listen to them? So I hope I'm a person who shows what honesty, how life and you engage when your path is toward love and truth.
That's right. You could check out the podcast on all platforms, especially YouTube. Make sure you go subscribe. And I want to know, what's your favorite type of role to portray? Is it a thriller, horror, drama? What's your favorite type that you love portraying?
The fun of my job is that I dive in so deep. I think I could now, all I want to do is comedy. All I want to do is comedy. And then I do comedy. Give me a drama, get me to Broadway. And that's the pleasure of being able to do different mediums and explore different mediums. And I also train myself so that I can do all those mediums. Acting isn't just a close up on the screen, it's a challenge to your life, how you want to live, how you want to feel, how you want to express story. So your container is that's your tool. That's all you've got. So I encourage people to remember that you don't have to wait for the phone and want to get your ass up and go and train yourself to do something else, challenge yourself. But buy a skateboard, like whatever it is, you never know what that challenge to yourself is going, how it's going to benefit you. They Dancing with the Stars. I work and train for any character. And luckily it wasn't like, what, Dancing with the Stars? What? Well, I got to lose 30 pounds and go on Red Bull and cigarette diet. And it's an important thing that a lot of schools, I don't think, teach as part of the practice of being a performer.
Mhm. Oscars. What is your take on the Oscars? Because you
I
hear
don't know
about
why I don't have one. Oh, look,
it.
do you see my, hey, can you see? Do you see
Yeah, I
the Oscar
can.
poster? And my friend gave that to me.
Wow.
After I was, the funny thing was the year that I was blacklisted was the year that there are technical awards that people don't get to watch, right? So but they always apparently pick the it girl, which I didn't know that I was, to host them. But I am a tech geek. I love it. I know I love my cruise. So when they asked me to host it, I was just out of my mind. I was so excited. I had so much fun. And so the one Oscar that goes out, the one, the actress me goes out and gets to present the one tech award on the Oscars. And I walked out on stage. It was in the middle of the Ellen debacle. Everybody, it was just so amazing how many people cared about what these two women were doing without me being involved. Like, what is it your business? What anybody wants to do to make themselves feel better? But there was so much backlash. So walking out on that stage was like, and I'm giving the award for sound, and I go up to the mic and it doesn't work. And I'm like, so then people start flying and go over there, and of course it's live. I'm like, well, so and I'm fast enough on my feet, so I'm just like, see, technical. This is why we need sound. Whatever, but it was just not the moment something had to go right, and it didn't. And I saw Renee Zellweger backstage, and she was nominated for the movie that I turned down because I didn't think it was truthful, because I didn't think that Tom Cruise character, whatever that movie was, really fell in love with her, and she was acting like she was loved. I was like, it's a lie. It doesn't make any sense. My agent called me, did you just walk into your screen test and tell the director that you don't believe in the movie? And I said, no, I told him that I didn't believe that it was a true love story. He's like, well, you didn't get it. And so, of course, of all the people that I see backstage, right, it's Renee Zellweger, and she's nervous. And I'm like, what are you nervous about? The funny thing is how life confronts you with the absolute last thing that you want right before you walk on stage.
Yes.
But I could never do that. I can't. I cannot play a character that I don't think is true or that I haven't figured out, no matter who they are or what they do. I have to agree with the director with what we're going for, and if it's not true, I won't be able to play it. I think that's why people appreciate my acting. I don't judge my characters, and I go for it when good, bad, or ugly. Like I played Dahmer's mom, for God's sake.
Oh, that was another crazy performance that you had.
Right? That's what my mother looked like. That was the deceit I wanted to. In fact, it was the end of me drawing from the darkness from my life. It would actually put something to rest for me, because I had the opportunity to show what it looks like for a mother to be on the outside one thing that people accept, and on the inside something completely different that destroys a family. And I said, thing is, I'm gonna play the mother that shows how much responsibility a mother can have in destroying a child. And it doesn't mean she caused, he still had his behaviors and whatever, but I do not believe that we bear fruit to psychos just for no reason. And I wanted to show what it might like to make a different choice, but I had to get dark, and
Yeah.
my mother was dark.
Yes, I've heard about your life story, and it's just amazing to see what you built your career up to be, and it's such inspiration to see that you can still make it out of that and do great things and monumental things. What is something that you're most proud of?
A cult in Ohio can become a girl who stands up for a community and speaks about love and has a platform to do it while being a movie star and an artist. You can do anything.
Yeah, that's right. What is your most proudest achievement as far as one of your roles in film goes? Which one do you look back on that you love the most?
I'm proudest of the work, I'm proudest of the opportunity that I was given after I was blacklisted by companies like Lifetime and Hallmark, because they saved, they saved my life. And I had to make a choice then what my life was about. I could have made a lot of different decisions, but I chose to go. There wasn't any understanding what you do when you get fired for. Heather always goes, I'm the most famous lesbian who's not a lesbian. Nobody wanted to hear that conversation. Nobody asked me. It just they threw me out. And deciding to do the movies, and knowing that my commitment would be the same to a small movie role or big movie role, that was a fantastic thing to understand and commit to, that they could bring me that much joy, and it needed to, and I needed to decide to commit to that rather than be but in yuck about what was happening to me. It's because it could have dragged me down, and unfortunately, I'm still here. I'm still standing.
Yes, that's right, and continue to stand. And it's great to see, because if this is still happening to actresses today, or even actors that come out,
but it's never going to happen to you. It's never going to happen again.
Yeah,
And if
because
they
now
do, we have some. We laid some groundwork for the support of that. But that's that of course is the thing I'm most proud of. That I don't know. Sometimes you get the courage to do something you don't know that you're having to pull from all the different places in your soul. But it feels good to be able to be that person in the world right now.
Yes, that's right. And is there anything else that you have coming up that you're working on, upcoming films, anything, upcoming shows for your podcast as well that you would like to announce that you can?
Oh, I mean, well, 13 Minutes is coming out. I
Right.
encourage people to watch The Vanished. It's still one of my most complicated roles. I think it's still on Netflix. And I've done a couple of movies that are gonna, but there's another big, but The Supercell is the name of my next big movie. And it's gonna be even more disastrous. It's gonna be in the vein of, like, it's a very Spielberg, in like the ET world, old school, and I've been lucky to continue working for so long.
Congratulations on all your accolades and achievements, and I appreciate it. Let all the listeners know right now where they can follow you on Instagram and Twitter and all your social
You
platforms
can
too.
find me on Anne Heche. Better to get it. You can go to annehege.com. I even have some TikToks there too. It's fun to get a younger group of people to get some eyes on what it is to live in truth. And I appreciate if you come on and give yourself a chance to be encouraged to live your life as fully and as boldly as you possibly can.
That's right. And I want to thank you for coming on the show here today. It was an honor speaking with you. You're always welcome. Anytime you want to promote any upcoming movies, any upcoming podcasts that you may have that you want to get out there even more,
Thank
always
you.
have a
We've
spot
got
here.
Sandra Bernhard next week, and then Adam Carolla on the week after that, and we've got Jason Tardigon, who does one for them and talks to us about he does a podcast called Trading Secrets. It comes on and tells us some secrets and guides us toward not having any shame around money. So it's a fun place to listen, and I just cannot thank you enough for asking me to be on the show. You're a pleasure.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And enjoy the rest of your day. Okay.
Thank you. You too, my friend. Until next time.